everybody, and welcome to the Petri Dish. We are live at Ignite, and I am here with Darren. And Darren, what brings you to Orlando?
Excellent question, Brad. I am here with Semperis. My name is Darren Mar-Elia. I have gone by the name the GPO guy a lot in the past. I do a lot of group policy stuff, but more recently I've been working with Semperis. Semperis does Active Directory protection and recovery. So we have a bunch of cool solutions for doing everything from being able to have a sort of running change log of AD to if your entire AD has completely melted down, push button recovery of an entire AD forest. So really nice technology, especially nowadays with so many things going on against AD, to be able to recover AD, to be able to see what changes are happening in real time in AD. Super beneficial. So we're here to show customers that.
So kind of a candid question here.
Yeah.
When a forest burns down,
yes,
do you typically see that as being an accident or malicious?
There's always someone with matches around.
Yeah.
They may be matches in the hands of an admin who did something horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Or they could be matches in the hand of a bad guy that's essentially gone after your AD with the intent of compromising it. For example, there were some well-publicized ransomware encryptions of domain controllers.
Sure.
And if you, I heard one story about a customer who had all of their domain controllers encrypted except for one that happened to be in a closet offline somewhere, and it completely saved their bacon because otherwise they would have been completely blown up. And you know, the problem is nowadays with so much stuff dependent on Active Directory, it used to be this quaint little operating system directory where you would log into your workstation with your Active Directory credentials and you're done for the day with interacting with AD. And now, you've got cloud-based solutions that are using SSO and federation through AD and all this stuff that depends on it. So not a good thing when it goes down.
Yeah, so to your credit and to your point, it's fair to say that Active Directory is obviously significantly more complex than most of us think about in the past. So what are the general pitfalls that you are seeing people making with when either they're setting up Active Directory, expanding, contracting? What are you seeing people do?
Right. I mean, there's a few things that are, short of a total disaster that happen in Active Directory. So there are the scripts that are poorly written. So if somebody writes a script that they think is targeting a small little subset of AD and it ends up modifying 10,000 objects.
Sure.
Not a good scenario, and they have to be able to revert that.
That's the accidental burning.
That's the accidental burning. There's the, making a schema change or changing the domain functional level, and it ends up breaking an application that, for whatever reason, the application is ancient and it was written to expect a certain domain functional level. You didn't know that. You upgrade your functional level, which is a non-reversible change.
Sure.
And you end up having to essentially do a domain or a forest recovery. So those kinds of everything from the obvious, where you have the script running, to the not so obvious, where you're changing functional levels, you're doing schema upgrades. All of those things can have an adverse impact on AD.
Okay.
And then more recently, you're starting to see more sophisticated attacks where attackers get a foothold in the environment and then they use AD and the information in AD or in group policy, my little pet favorite, to move laterally very quickly across the environment by taking advantage of that information and by modifying that information, or if they can find objects that are poorly delegated, they can basically take advantage of that.
And so when you say they quickly move across, give us a time frame. Like, is that days, is that hours?
It could be. It depends on what they're looking for, but the interesting part about most AD environments, and I was just reading an article about this tool called Death Star that was written by somebody that was presenting at DerbyCon, and essentially it gives you the ability to get to domain admin in, he stated, like 90% of environments.
Wow.
It takes advantage of information that's read-only accessible, not necessarily even protected. You don't even necessarily have to be elevated, where you can get this information about who has admin on which servers are, some people use obvious names for, call it the credit card processing server or something like that. But using AD information, which is telling you where everyone has privileged access across the environment, you can it's a matter of minutes or hours depending on how you're moving around.
Gotcha. So obviously, the response to an attack has to be very quick and very efficient.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you are going to be, you're going to be equifaxed.
You're going to be equifaxed or any number of poorly managed or poorly exploited customers. Yeah, it's not a good scenario.
If you had to give a quick best practice, general, for the viewing audience, what would you say the best practices are, just at a super high level?
That's great. I mean, having good change control over important infrastructure changes in AD is really important, and that includes everything from the things that I mentioned to my favorite, group policy changes. Group policy changes, obviously, most people are using group policy to do hardening across their servers and desktops. Can't tell you how many times, without good change control, somebody deploys a group policy change and it just explodes the environment. To having a good process for seeing when changes are occurring and being notified when changes are occurring. Having a really good DR plan in place for being able to recover AD in the event that it's attacked or it's rendered unusable, because you can't really live with that for more than just a few minutes.
Yeah, no, that's actually all very good advice, because we all know it doesn't matter how good you think your system is, a hacker will find out quickly how poorly you actually implemented it. And so there needs to be that training on obviously protection, but also disaster recovery. It has to be a critical aspect of everything that you do.
Exactly.
And so if people want to find out more about you and yourself and what you're doing, where can they find you?
So Semperis, SEMPERIS.com. We are here at Ignite, booth 1159. Happy to show people what we're doing. We're on the Twitter sphere and all the other social media things. So definitely.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, very much appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks.
And as always, you can find everything you learned about today and more on Petri.com. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.